everybody. We are live, Monique. We are live. Hello.
Good morning.
I've got you. Good morning. Oh, it is so good to be here this morning in our robe party.
Yes.
Woo-woo. What do you say?
The robe life chose us.
Yes. You guys, I'm Amy. I'm coming to you from Michigan. That's why I have my Michigan mug. And I have my friend Monique Gaffney here. And I am so excited to have you meet her. We have just been enjoying the morning together already. And we are here in Modern Movement Makers community to share a little bit more about her story and some movements that are happening that we would love to share with you. And I cannot wait. So for those of you that do not know, hold on, what Modern Movement Makers is all about, that is something that I have put together. I am leading. I am just so excited for this community and to grow and to inspire others. And so let me tell you a little bit about that first, and then I'll introduce Monique. So Modern Movement Makers, it is basically a place where we put movement to mission and create waves of inspired action of love, compassion, healing, and growth in the world around us. It's simply that. We are hope dealers. We want to create these waves. And for those of you that know me, know that I'm a native Southern California girl. Our family has moved to Michigan, and we are creating waves out here as well, and in our lives, in relationships, in the world around us. And we do that wherever we go. And it's a part of who we are. So I decided that I wanted to open the table. I wanted to open the table to shine, to help people's lights shine with how they are making waves of inspired action in the world around them. And so the table is open to anybody. I just love this time with all of my Modern Movement Makers. And Monique, I am like incredibly honored to be here with you because I met Monique online, actually. We actually had a Zoom. What is it, 6 months ago?
I think longer, honestly. I think we probably chatted maybe in June or July or something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while that we have met, but we met on a Zoom.
Yeah.
Actually. And then we have also had the opportunity to meet in a much deeper way. And I am so excited for her to share a little bit about that. So Monique, we are so excited to have you here. And if you are new to Modern Movement Makers and you want to read a little bit more about that, you can go to modernmovementmaker.com. We actually have a community page called Modern Movement Makers on Facebook. We are also on Instagram and soon YouTube. So I'm working on that. So Monique, we are Modern Movement Makers together, and I'm so honored to have you here today and to hear you share your life with us and all the movement that is happening. So tell us a little bit about your life, Monique.
Oh, that's a big question. So a little bit about my life. First of all, my dog is whining, so you might hear him because, of course, now he wants out, which means the kids are probably up. Now, do you hear this? This is my life.
Look at my back here.
So my name is Monique Gaffney. Thank you, first of all, for having me here. Thank you for this platform and opportunity to share this work with your followers and your people. I'm so excited to do this and just to work together. And like you said, I love that we first met over Zoom, but then our hearts met in a deeper conversation as God brought us together. So I don't know about my life. I'm 43. I have 3 kids, all girls. I'm married. I live in Southern California. We have 2 dogs and 2 guinea pigs. And I had 2 cats, but just yesterday, my oldest daughter moved out. So we're back to she's out and the cats are gone. And that's about it. I am a full-time core wound healer. I help people heal their wounds and step into their purpose and serve the way that God called and created them to. And we just do this in a really special, powerful way. And that's literally it. That's me in a nutshell.
Is actually watching. Jody, who is is on here watching. So thank you so much for watching, Jody, and feel free to share this out. Feel free to drop comments, say hello, tell us where you're watching from, because we always love to just get to know people. And so you kind of mentioned a little bit, Monique, about your purpose work, and that is in core wound healing, which I am so beyond appreciative of you sharing this work, and for God bringing it into your life so that you could share it with the world. And I'm so grateful. And so, is there any? Tell us maybe a little bit about the beginning of this movement and how that sort of started, maybe, because I mean, this has become a movement, really. But
yeah, it's become a movement. So core wound healing is actually a 6-step process, a 6-step method that God divinely gave me in 2017 when I was at my like, some people call it like their lowest of the low or like their bottom of the barrel. I literally looked like my life was fine. Everything looked great on the outside. And so you go back to 2017 and all my social media, everything looked fine. If you are aware enough, you can probably see in that the smiles, a lot of it was fake, because nobody knew, not even my husband knew that I was living in a silent depression. And I was really conflicted in my heart about what I was doing, and knowing that I had always heard my whole life those God whispers of like, you're here to do something more. There's more, you are here to serve the world in a bigger way. And I wasn't. And my soul just literally felt like it was dying. I felt so lost, confused, conflicted. And it was that come to Jesus, dark night of the soul moment where, I mean, literally, I'm not exaggerating when I say it was literally a nighttime dark. It was at night. I was literally like on my knees crying and asking God. Literally, I made a bargain with God. It's my second time I've ever bargained with God. And I was like, God, if you give me a way out and show me how to like just shift out, I can't live like this. I don't want to be on medication, for depression or whatever. I know that you can heal my life. Show me a way out of this, and I will do whatever you say. Like, no questions asked. You open all the doors, I will walk through them. And in that moment, God doesn't play. When you say you're ready, God does not play. He's no joke. In case you were wondering, God's no joke.
absolutely.
So in that moment, I feel like I made this soul contract and kind of just like locked hands with him. And he became my ultimate life coach, which he always is, but I surrendered to that in that moment. And I would pray and meditate. And in that process came the 6 keys to core wound healing. And it's, like I said, a 6-step process. The first wound I ever healed, which I thought I was totally over, was a sexual trauma that I experienced when I was around 7 or 8 years old. And I thought I'd gotten over it. I said like, okay, fine, I forgive him. I had talked about it with family. People were aware, but I still hadn't, it was still sitting in me. There was still a hold on me. It was holding me back in so many areas of my life. And not only that, it showed me I could reflect back and see all of the many choices that I had made and the many roads that my wound had taken me down, because I was operating from that hurting space because of that wound that had happened. And so even though I tried to like push it down all those years from, 8 years old to 38 years old, for 30 years, I shoved this wound down. It affected me in a way that held me back. It kept me far from my purpose. And so even though I was hearing God whisper, like, you're made for more, here you go, let's go, girl, like, let's do this, I was like, but I can't, and I'm not good enough. And all of those other thoughts were coming that were attached to the wound and my wounded space. And so God literally walked me through these 6 steps, and that's how core wound healing was born.
Wow. Rod, I mean, Monique, thank you for sharing that. And my friend Rod is listening too. And Rod, thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored. And talk about modern movement maker. He is making some waves as well. So, Rod, I cannot wait to see what's coming for you too. And Monique, I am just so grateful that you stepped into that place of vulnerability and surrender, because that's often what's I've found it stops me in my that's actually what was why Modern Movement Makers started, because someone saw that I had been in relationship with, saw what they saw potential in what I needed to do in my life. And so they were like, Amy, you need to do this.
Yeah.
Dang it, I do. And so then I felt that same nudge with Courtroom Healing.
Yeah.
God just kept saying, like, this is something you need right now. This is something you need right now. And when I reached out to you, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I had like 2 Zoom meetings with you just because.
The hesitancy was real, y'all. The resistance was real.
And I'm super skeptical. I mean, it took me 4 years to get my gut health right with force with that. And like, I am super stubborn. So most of us are.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's our human nature, I think, to resist. Like we literally have God's spirit residing in us that's constantly saying, this is the right way. That's where those whispers come from. That's where like we know that we should be following a certain path. But our human self, our ego self, especially attached to wounds, especially saying, well, I've been hurt before, I've been burned before, or I've tried everything before and nothing has really helped me, right? Like, of course it's so easy as humans to say, like, that can't be God telling me this is the right way. Like, that's just like a passing thought. And I know what's right and I know what's good for me because I've tried all the things before. I've done everything and nothing can help me. I'm too broken. My wounds are too deep. No one will understand. There's no way. So you're not like atypical in your resistance. I mean, honestly, I resisted for 30 years. Right? Took me to 38 to get to that point.
Timing too, right? Like you might not have been prepared to jump into this work, or I might not have. I mean, and the choices that we make a decision every day, right?
Totally.
We make decisions for ourselves every single day. So I love that you just described why we have to really listen to the nudges of God's timing in what we jump into and how we do things. And so that kind of leads to this next question. I'll ask you the next one a little later, but what fears have held you back in your life, either with this movement or if you want to share one, what are they? How do you overcome them? Because I know for me, core wound healing has really helped me unpack some of my fears. And so for you, how has that shown itself?
Yeah, so definitely had fears attached to this because, again, I'm still human. even staying committed to my purpose, even staying committed to that pact I made with God, it's, stuff still crops up, fears, thoughts. I mean, and honestly, not even so much. It will come in waves and in different ways. So in the beginning, it was really scary. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to help people in this way. It's kind of evolved, even certain fears and beliefs attached to it. So in the very beginning, I had the fear of, and it never held me back. Like there's nothing that holds me back because I walk through it, obviously, with core wound healing and with the community and love and people surrounding me now that I have built up. You are being one of them. But so I would say definitely it doesn't hold me back. Do they come up? For sure, but I don't allow them to hold me back anymore like I used to. But in the beginning, it was scary because this is different. I grew up, and we've had many conversations about this, but I grew up in a Christian faith, right? Going to Christian church, identifying as a Christian. And so I had a huge Christian following who was very like Bible-based and then saying that then I was like the spirit guided coach, because really it was my pact was with God, like the Holy Spirit is guiding me in this, and whatever I am nudged to do, I'm following. And so that was very disconcerting to some people, and they didn't really understand what that meant. And it kind of, it rustled some feathers, which I think is probably a good thing in hindsight for them and for me, because I needed even that nudge to be sound in my faith of what I knew that God was calling me to do.
Right.
And so that brought some fear, like, what will people think? Fear of judgment, fear of like, am I saying things that people don't like? Will they listen to me then if they don't like this? Will they heed what God's telling, how the way that God's giving us to heal and change our life? And so I moved through that again with core wound healing, and also just staying firm. Like I know that me and God made that pact that night, and he said he would walk me through this if I just keep moving forward, right? So moving through that in the waves of how that, now I don't care what people think. That's not a thing anymore.
Like, what people think of me is none of my business.
No. And it's just really a reflection of where they're at. I have we could talk another whole session on judgment in general, but so that's not a factor anymore, but it moved. So it shifted, and the fear shifted into, I'm not like not even worthy, but like good enough, or it moved into, I'm not a good enough leader, or I'm not like good with money, and I'm not, so many things as I saw the movement growing and growing that I saw, because a lot of money starts coming in, and then suddenly I'm leading many people. It's not just like one client, it's like hundreds of people, and now like staff, right? Like a full team. And I had to work through, so all of last year I had to work through a lot of that stuff coming up, and I go straight to the keys, which is like literally God telling me, those are the lies, these are the truth, this is how we reframe that story, and this is really what you are here to do. And it's just a reset. Every time you do the keys, it's just literally like a reset, reconnecting back to that like direct line with God. And then you have that, like, it's like this, you're re-energized, and you're like, all right, let's keep going. Like, that was all bullshit. Let's keep going, right?
Absolutely. So that really kind of leads to maybe this question: why is this particular movement, core wound healing, what you lead in, how you're leading this team, how, now it's an academy, so how you're leading your certified core wound healers, all of that, why is this particular movement important to you now?
Yeah, it's such a great question, because since 2017, I've been focusing heavily on getting the core wound healing movement to light, and getting that, kind of like where this is what people's go to. And once you experience it, like you have, once you give into the resistance and listen to the nudge and actually complete a whole healing session, it's literally like life transforming. It changes literally everything. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it changes everything, and it really reconnects you to God back on the deepest of levels. But I know, like, the bigger portion of what I do, and I let this piece of it, unless you were working with me one-on-one, kind of go to the wayside, because I needed to, not really the wayside, but just kind of put on the back burner for a little bit. But the whole reason, I truly believe the whole reason that we are here on this earth is to serve in our purpose and make the impact, reach the people that we are supposed to be reaching. Like, God brought us here, put us here specifically with very specific gifts, very specific talents, and those he gave us for a very specific purpose. Like, those are complementary, so they help us serve in our purpose. And so for the first couple of years, I focused a lot on purpose, but people didn't like the fact that I made them heal. And I say made because, yes, you have to heal if you really want to dive into your purpose head first. So when people would work with me one-on-one, I'm like, oh yeah, you want to remember what your purpose is? I'm here to help you do that, but we got to heal first, right? So we're going to do core wound healing first. And they're like, oh, right. So it was amazing. It worked. I worked one-on-one with people in that capacity. And then to bring core wound healing to let people know there is a way to heal, because we're in such a hurting world. I mean, this world is just, you see it everywhere, all over social media, all over regular media. I mean, everywhere you see hurt and pain in the world. And I'm like, okay, people need to know there is a way to heal, right? Like, let's focus on this, because we cannot serve in our purpose 1,000%, like dive all in, until we heal all of those parts, those fears, those judgment, those doubt, disbelief, all of that, heal all of those things. Sometimes it's past trauma. Like I had to heal my trauma first before I could even step into this realm. Heal that first. So then they're open to start receiving those nudges that they're getting, right? So, the last 3 years heavily focusing on core wound healing, and plugging that into people's minds. And it was the latter part of 2020 that I was like, I felt that spirit nudge again. Like, this isn't right for, like, it's not 100%. It is right, but it's not 100% right to my purpose.
Right.
Like, my purpose literally is to help you step into your purpose. And so it doesn't feel fulfilling to my soul if I'm just sitting there having you heal only. Like, for me and my work, I need to see people. My soul is like, yes, yes, yes. Look at them go. Look at them doing their purpose work. Look at them serving the world the way that they're supposed to. And if I don't see that or feel that for an extended amount of time, my soul's like, meh.
Here's something crazy. So at the beginning of every year, I mean, maybe it's not so crazy because other people might do this too, but we set intentions for the year, like a word. My year for 2020 was open. And I knew that God had given me that word. And I don't know that I would have, if I hadn't have set that intention in 2020.
Yeah.
I was just going to be open to growth. I was going to be open to new ideas, new ways of growing, new ways of serving, new ways of, I don't know that I would have done Modern Movement Makers. I don't know that I would have done Core Wound Healing. I don't know. You know what I mean? And so then in 2021, I was praying and asking God, what should my intention be for 2021? And the word came to mind before the academy started, before everything. My word is purpose.
Wow.
Like, what? Yeah. Holy cow. So then you were starting talking about purpose, and just like, wow, like we are so aligned. And
I know.
So, like, I just am so grateful that you have released it in this way. And it's just been a gift to my life. There's lots of gifts in my life, obviously. But I'm just so grateful that, we don't have to let like all this distance, come be like, it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, being in person is so much better. We need that. We're humans. We need that human touch. We need that human, but God is still moving.
Yeah.
And he's present. He is not in a building.
Yeah.
He is everywhere. And that is what the waves, and let's go to this question. So I have learned a lot about the ocean, being that is my, being around the Pacific Ocean is my soul. I don't think I'll ever be disconnected from waves and the ocean in my spirit. Yeah. And so I feel like watching the ebbs and flows of the Pacific Ocean my entire, hey bud.
Oh wait.
Yeah, we're still live. Just say hi. I feel like the waves and the ebbs and flows of the ocean and how that all goes. I know you share a story too about an ocean experience that you've had. I just feel like I've learned a lot about that in life. I feel like life has, these low tides, these high tides, these, rip curls that we get spun in or whatever. You learn a lot just by being around the ocean about life. So how, and although I'm obviously in Michigan and I'm learning a lot about stillness, right?
Yeah.
And the water is amazing in Michigan. This is such a beautiful state. And I have learned so much in this state about just, I mean, it's snowing right now, Monique.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, really? It looks like a sunny day.
I'm looking out. It is like all white outside right now. And the snow teaches me a lot too, right? The snow teaches me just like the blank slate, and that's what Jesus does for us. That's what God does for us. That's what Core Wound Healing does.
Totally. 1,000%.
Blank slate, like everybody. Nobody is above healing, right? Nobody.
No.
Nobody. I don't care if I don't know. Just the people I have met through this community have been such a gift to my life. And I could cry. Like, it is
so good.
It is so, so good. And I just know that you were meant to be a modern movie maker, and you were meant to be a core wound healer and guide in this way. So it makes me so incredibly honored to have you here. And so yeah, how are you? So I mean, I guess this question's already answered. You're already making these waves and rippers.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could talk about a little bit about, how it's growing bigger now into the Self Healers Academy, which you touched on a little bit. But that's what, when I told God, I'm like, this isn't feeling like 100% on with just core wound healing. And so just in January, I mean, this is how quickly it's been moving and how quick God moves when you're like committed and like all in. In January, I was like, I need to be seeing people take that next step into their purpose. Like that's what I'm here to do. And I could see people in our healing community ready for it. I mean, they're healing over and over again. And then they're hearing those whispers, because the moment you heal, the moment you reconnect, you start hearing those whispers, those nudges of like, oh, I'm supposed to do this. Ooh, that sounds fun. Ooh, I want to try that. Like, oh, I remember that gift and talent that I had. I remember I used to love doing those things. And then they're like, but then what, right? Or what's next? And that's where I come in as like a purpose guide. Like I can see that big picture. I see your highest potential before you ever see it. So when you reconnect to it, I'm like, yes, game on, let's do this. And so I could see all of the hundreds of people in our healing community that are healing month over month and like private clients. I'm like, I see them ready. And we need to get more people moving into their purpose. They're already in this healing space. And how can we get them into their healing purpose all at the same time? Because I'm one person, my certified healers are one person. Like we can only serve so many at a time, getting people into their purpose. But if God was like, but you can do it this way, and you can do it in a larger capacity where you can serve many at one time, where they're being guided through this healing process. Because we do, like, we do every single month, we have a group healing session online virtually. And it's just as powerful as when we do it in person. God's work is God's work. You just like God is here and God is in person. The power of his work in the core wound healing is ever present also. So every month we do this healing session, it will still be done in the academy. And God's like, you create a space where it's a monthly membership for people to come in. They still have access to heal every single month, so they can keep healing forward every month. But also wrapped around that week of healing, then you teach them how to step into their purpose. You teach them how to do these things. Like what I would teach my private clients, I will be teaching in the group. And every single week we will have teachings, not only from me, but from my certified healers who are also in their purpose work, doing what it is God called them to do. We have open office hours. So if you heal a wound one week and you're like, oh, this came up for me, this is showing itself to me, what do I do with this? Is this like another wound I need to heal, or do I need to just shift out of this emotion or energy? We'll have open office hours where you can literally ask a healer whatever it is that you need. So it's literally all of a space to, if you are someone who is committed, like I want to heal and I hear God calling me to step into my purpose this year, this is the way to do it. Like this is the space. There is nothing like it out there. Nothing. Like there is no space that teaches you a very specific way to heal and then guides you into your purpose and what the next steps are and what God's calling you to do. It's incredible.
So I did this past week, we had a healing group on Zoom, and it was so powerful. And I actually have to tell you that I just got a message we have the way that you connect. I mean, we were in a little breakout room, 3 of us, and I've connected personally and individually with these people. And I have to tell you that the messages I'm even getting, just as healing with, she was healing a completely different wound. I was healing a wound this past week as well. And the messages I was getting back from her were just like, oh my gosh, I have been I've been paying for therapy like for 7 years. And I've heard this story from several people, but like I have been trying to, I've used books, I've used this, I've used that, and nothing. Like I feel so good having healed this wound, and I know, and I know I'm even hearing these things from people I just met online.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. And you know, when you use something or do something that is working,
Yeah.
you really don't even have to like try. You just, you know, you
Yeah.
just can't shut up about it.
Right.
So it's kind of like I'm that walking billboard for core wound healing. And
1,000%.
as people know, you know, I'm a thriver. So like, and that's been an amazing journey for me. And so
Yeah.
I share it just so naturally because, and people see it, people ask me mostly, people just mostly come to me and be like, wait, what are you doing? But like with core wound healing, it's the same thing. Like it's just a deeper look into your soul. It's soul work, right?
It
Like
is.
we're a whole person. And so I'm all about mind, body, and spirit.
Yes.
We have to take care of our whole self. So I love that you work on the soul part of people and the spirit part of people. Cause like you said, there's a lot of hurting people in the world. And I was one of them.
Yeah. So was
And,
I.
right. And so I think this is just the tools that the keys give you the tools to heal forward in a way that is so aligned with, like you said, this work, this purpose driven work, basically.
Yeah.
So, what's a piece of advice you want to leave people with? And of course, you know, we're going to talk about how people can connect with this movement.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think my biggest piece of advice is if you are hearing those nudges or those whispers, reach out to someone, like literally reach out to Amy, reach out to someone that, you know, I felt like I had no one to reach out to. So literally when I was hearing those nudges and whispers before core wound healing, I got to that dark night of the soul where honestly I was having very, very negative thoughts. Almost, I could say, scary thoughts that were not of my own. And that can take, it's like in that moment, we have a choice. Do we want to align with that dark space or do we want to align back with God's truth? And thank God, my spirit, my soul, my human self even knew better. And I reached out to God, but reach out to another human if that you're not in that capacity where you don't feel or believe that God is even present or can help you or any of that stuff. Like reach out to someone else because those whispers, those nudges of you're here for something more. It doesn't have to be this hard. You do not have to struggle. It can be okay. You can heal. It is all possible. It is all yours for the taking. You can heal. You can live the life of freedom from any pain, any trauma, any experiences that you've had, even if it's just limiting beliefs and thoughts of like, I'm not worthy. No one's going to love me the way that I am. I've been through too much. Even those just negative and limiting thoughts, you can heal all of that. And all you need to do is just let someone else know I'm thinking these things, because I promise you the power of sharing that and just saying, this is what I'm thinking. I guarantee you'll realize very quickly you're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah. I can tell you personally that I have healed around my marriage. I've healed around my relationships. I've healed around relationships in not only, you know, some relationships in the church, even, you know, I've healed around limiting beliefs, my worth, you know, my worth, my value. But it could just be smaller things too, like something that someone has told you that it just
Oh,
keeps
totally.
popping up and you just want to like free yourself of that.
Yeah.
Some people think like they're because like, I don't know if I want to go like that deep or, you know, whatever, but it, it's not, it's not scary once you do it, once you
Yeah.
just, right. And so I have pulled up a quote this morning that I want to read. And
Yes.
I think that this goes into like the purpose work that core wound healing does for people. But you know, the quote says, do something today that your future self will thank you for. Our actions and decisions today that will shape the way we will be living in the future.
Yes.
Love that because that is that
Okay. This quote that I pulled today, it says, your world is a living expression of how you are using and have used your mind.
wow.
Like, I know. It's true. It's the same thing. Like, what choice, what action are you going to take today? You will literally create a living expression of that. And so if you are in a living expression right now in your own current life, in your own current reality, that you're like, this doesn't feel good anymore. This doesn't align with what my soul is telling me to do. I know this isn't God's best for me. Even if it's good, even if it's mediocre and you're like, it's fine, it's just not like that. That's not God's best. God didn't create us to have a mediocre life. And if you're ready to change that, if you're ready to feel differently and see things differently and experience life way better, like God's best, like this is the way to, I guarantee you Core and Healing is the way to do it. There are many other ways, but I know for sure that this works.
Yeah, I've healed even around, for those of you that know us, like we've, and this doesn't get talked about enough, so I'm going to share it here with you guys, but, we've miscarried twice. We lost our first baby and the one in between our two children. And as you were sharing your story earlier about what God, your what did you call it? Your
Dark Night of the Soul Night? No.
No, you were talking about like you made a commitment to God or
Oh, like my bargain with God.
Bargain with God. Yes, you made a bargain with God. So I had a similar moment when we had lost our first child, and I've used core wound healing to heal around our miscarriages as well. And so I knew like I had sort of made a bargain with God as well, saying like, God, like I don't know like how to get past this, this pain. And I just remember being in the parking lot right after a worship service at a church in California that we were serving at. I was in it wasn't even during the music or during any certain part in the church, right? Which I think is really, really like telling and kind of how God is working in my life. Like it's not sometimes in a church at all. It's just in nature and things like that. So we were in like a parking lot leaving the church. And I remember God saying very distinctly, I am going to give you a child.
Wow.
Like that just I am healing from or trying to heal from this pain of losing this child. Like wait, what? Like, and so we had some talks after that, God and I. And then, within a year, God did what he was going to do. And we have this amazing, beautiful child that we are caring for and loving unconditionally. And I know there is a purpose for my child.
Yes.
And then my other as well.
Yes.
But, it's just, we have to listen to those nudges. And
yes.
so I appreciate that. So how can people hung out with you guys long enough? It's time to get going on our day, but how can people connect with the movement of core wound healing and all of that? I will definitely post a link in the comments for you guys that you can look into it a little bit. Thank you.
Yeah, so you can definitely, if you're interested in core wound healing, if you're interested in healing your life and stepping into your purpose, the Self Healers Academy is literally the place to do it. So Amy will drop a link right after this and you guys can look there. You can also, if you just want to follow along for a bit and kind of see what happens, you can join us in the Healers Haven, totally free community, and you can see people actually doing their healing work in there. Amy's gone live in there. I've gone live in there. There's like videos of so many people that go live in there sharing their soul work through the keys that God's given us in core wound healing. You'll see how the community feels. You'll just get the vibe of what it is, and you'll either feel like it's for you or you'll feel like maybe it's not at this time, which is totally okay either way. Either way, you'll have a loving community around you. You can connect with me. I'm on every social media channel on Instagram. We're at Core Wound Healers, and you can just follow along there. You can follow me, Monique Gaffney. I mean, literally just look up Monique Gaffney and you'll find me everywhere, and at Core Wound Healers and the Healers Haven. So we would love to have you. Cannot wait to meet you if you're called to join even our free community in Healers Haven. I guarantee very quickly you will know that this is the place that you're supposed to be if you felt the nudge to join it and felt the nudge to join us in the Self Healers Academy to really start making radical shifts in your life and making the impact in the world that you know that you're supposed to make.
Monique, I'm so honored. Had you this. I love that your dog is being crazy in the background like mine are usually.
He like literally cannot wait to get out. He's whining, shaking, like he just needs to get out of here.
Aw. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for those who have been watching. Thank you for those who will be on to watch the replay. So please know that this interview is on my personal page, but you can go over to Modern Movement Makers on Facebook. And if you want to check out the website, my website is modernmovementmaker.com. So thank you so much. I have a unicorn in my hand. And
Thank you. Oh, look. I have one too.
Oh, yay. Go have a beautiful day, you guys. And Monique, I just like sending seriously all virtual hugs, all the love to your family and your children. And I just
likewise. I'm grateful for you. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day.